Hi, welcome to this video on how to find the slope between 2 points. So before we get to how to do that, and we are going to be using, because in a little bit we're going to be using the slope-intercept form. So to find slope, we're going to do the y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And we'll be getting to that formula here in a little bit. But before we do that, what I'd like to do is just let's look back at finding slope in a graph, a table, and an equation. So you already learned how to find slope in a graph, and I have a graph here. And to find slope in a graph, you find the vertical change or the rise, and they're showing you here in this picture the rise. So this right here, it's actually not rising at all; it's decreasing. And the run, and you make that as a ratio. So in this case, you're going down 1, 2, 3. So down 3, and over 1, 2, 3, 4, over 4. So then the slope would be down 3 over 4. And I can leave that as the fraction, negative 3/4, or I can divide and get negative 0.75. So you already learned that. That's how you can find the slope in the graph. Then you also learned that you can find slope in a table. So to find slope in a table, you find the difference. So what I want to just make the connection here right now is between finding the difference and counting here on this graph. So finding the difference is subtraction. You're really subtracting, right? So here's 2 points, 1 and 0.5, 0.25. And so to find the change in y here, I would subtract. So I do this second number minus the first number. So 0.25 minus 1, and I get negative 0.75. Okay, I subtracted. And then over here, I would do, so 2 minus 1 is 1. So I would have negative 0.75 over 1, and really this table matches this graph. They're actually the same. I just have a different point in here. I had 5. In the graph, we had x is 5 and y was negative 2. That was the easy to read point. Whereas this point here in your table, this point in the table here, this one, okay, is right here. It's right here just above 2. So if I use those 2 points instead, and I define the difference this way, okay, erase this. So let me find the difference now. I'm going to subtract 5 minus 1. Well, 5 minus 1 is 4. And I'm going to subtract negative 2 minus 1. Well, negative 2 minus 1 is negative 3. You check in the calculator if you don't believe me, but negative 2 minus 1 is negative 3. So see how when I subtracted negative 2 minus 1, when I subtract negative 2 and 1, I get negative 3. Well, that was the rise that I counted. Counting those spaces is the same thing as finding the difference. When I subtract 5 minus 1, I get 4. That was the run here from the point 5 and 1. It's 4. I could subtract them and get 4. I could just count. So what I'm saying is counting those spaces between the easy to read points is the same thing as subtracting the y and x values. And all of that comes together in the equation, because we also remember in the equation, we put the slope in the equation, right? So the slope here is negative 0.75 x, and that goes in front of the x. And the y-intercept is right here, 0.5. So just saying that when you were counting, you were really, that was a way that you were finding the difference, because by counting, you were finding how far apart they are. That's the same thing as subtraction. And the reason why I'm saying that is because now you come to the point where you are going to be finding the difference between, you're going to find the slope between 2 points, and there's no graph and there's no table. It's just 2 points. So to find the slope, you're just going to find the difference. You're going to find the change in y, so that's y minus y, because you're going to subtract the y values, over the change in x minus x. And so since we have the same letter twice, what we're going to distinguish is one of the points, so all the points are like this, x comma y, okay? Well, the one point is going to be like the first point. We're going to call it the first point. So this is the first point, and this is the second point. So that's what the little 2 there is at the bottom, sub 2. So we're going to take the first, it doesn't matter which one's first and second. You're just labeling it. You're going to say, this is my first point, and this is my second point. I could have went the other way around. It wouldn't matter. And so the important part is that I'm going to subtract the second point minus the first point. And what really matters about this is that you have, and are going to see in this thing here, that when you're doing it, so again, it's the rise over the run, change in y over the change in x. So I'm going to subtract the y values on the top, and then on the denominator, I'm subtracting the x values. And what's really important is that you line up the numbers correctly. So these two here, this 5 and 3, this is the y value and x value from the first point. This 10 and negative 2 is the y value and x value from the second point. So what you should notice is the numbers from the second point are stacked on top of each other, and the numbers from the first point are stacked on top of each other. And then you just go across 10 minus 5 over negative 2 minus 3. So let's try that again with another point. Okay, so here are my 2 points. I have negative 4 comma negative 7 and 12 comma 1, not 11. Sorry. Those are our 2 points. And there is a line that passes through these 2 points and actually connects them essentially somewhere. That's true for every 2 points. So we're going to find the slope of that line. So to find the slope, I'm going to write my slope equation. We're going to use an RSS method. We're going to write the equation. So I'm going to write m equals, so the formula goes like this, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So in the points, the first number is always the x, and the second one is the y. It's always x comma y. They're in alphabetical order. All right, so now that I did that, I'm going to make sure that when I put these in here, I'm going to take the second point first. So this is the second point, and then this is the first point. So when I stack it, I'm going to do, just kidding, hold on. So I'm going to do y2, so I'm going to do the second y, that's 1, minus the first y, negative 7. And then on the bottom, it's over x minus x. So I'm going to do the second x here, 12, minus the first x, negative 4. So you have to make sure you're going in the same order. So if I write 1 first, that means that I'm going to write 12 first on the bottom. If I would have done it the other way and I could have done negative 7 first. But if I did negative 7 first on the top, I'd have to do negative 4 first on the bottom, because the points, they need to be stacked on top of each other. So I could have also done it this way, where I had the change in y over the change in x. And I'll do both so that you can see they're the same answer. You don't have to always do it twice, but you're not listening to me. You're just watching, so you don't know this, but you don't actually have to do it twice. Okay, so I'm going to do top minus top over bottom minus bottom. So 1 minus negative 7. Keep, change, change. 1 minus negative 7 is actually 1 plus 7, so the answer is 8. On the bottom, 12 minus negative 4. Keep, change, change. 12 plus 4 is 16. So I get, and I can simplify, again, the divider I can simplify and make this 1/2. If I'm doing the other way and I put the first point first, -7 minus 1 is really -8, because -7 plus -1 is -8. Keep, change, change. -4 plus -12 is also -16. So negative divided by negative, or simplified, I would still get 1/2. So it doesn't matter which it doesn't matter which point comes first, but if you switch them around, like if you don't line up the points, then you're going to get the opposite. What'll end up happening is you'll get a positive when you get a negative, and vice versa. So that is how you use the slope that's how you use the slope formula, and you subtract. So that's it. Good luck.